had this bike for exactly 12 months now, and I have, can you believe that? That's sad. That means I probably have to sell this bike after another year just to be able to get any money out of it. So I want to do a review on this bike. It's not going to be comprehensive that covers every aspect of the bike. There's plenty of those reviews out there already. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. So let me first get into the modifications I've done to this bike. I didn't go hog wild on this thing, just a few little items. I put a power bronze shield on it to get a little more windbreak, and I like the darker tint. Instead of the wind hitting me in the chest, it starts at about right here, so that's better. I also put on these billet grips, which I hate. They transfer too much cold in your hands, and they're slippery and they spin where it's aluminum. Then I put on the shorty levers like right away. I couldn't stand the stock levers. I like the shorty levers. I found these on eBay out of China. They ended up fitting perfect, and they're good quality, man. I don't remember what I paid, but that's kind of the way to go if you don't want to spend the big bucks. I did put on the Yoshimura slip-on pipe, which I will say, when I first put it on, I wasn't stoked at all. I mean, it didn't sound any better than the stock pipe, and I'm like, what? You know, I mean, that's half the reason we put a pipe on these things, is to get a meaner sound, you know? And, but I will say that after riding it for a bit and breaking it in, it sounds really nice now. It's got a nice deep hum, and it definitely sounds better than stock. Definitely looks tricker. Carbon fiber. I did go down 2 teeth on the back sprocket just to make it run a little bit lower in the R's down the freeway. It didn't seem to make much of a difference, maybe half an RPM. And when I did that, I put on a Renthal aluminum sprocket. Piece of garbage. I mean, I burned through that thing in probably a month. So let's get into the performance of the bike. I mean, I love this thing, man. Even after a year, I look forward to getting on it every time I do. I love the power. There's gobs of it. It's good for street, good for track. It will literally lift the front end up in second gear without using the clutch. When it hits its peak RPM, shit, probably going 70, 80 miles an hour. The bike's super comfortable, riding position. I will say this though, the seat starts hurting my butt after about 35 or 40 minutes. I need to kind of like stand up and let the blood flow. One other thing I did a modification on, I do a lot of lane splitting, and I didn't like how jerky the motor was. So I put on this thing called the booster plug. It was 150 bucks. It goes underneath your gas tank. It plugs into it plugs into your emission system, and it richens the motor at lower RPM because they run these things really lean for emissions. So it definitely made a pretty big difference without going to the big money for, you know, like a Power Commander. Another thing you can do on this bike when you're just cruising around town is put the traction control on the highest setting, which is for wet conditions, and that definitely smooths out the jerkiness of the throttle. I'm not happy with the ABS braking. I think it works good for ABS, but you can't turn it off, and there's times I just don't want ABS, you know? It's actually gotten me in trouble more than once. It's probably saved my ass more than once, but I wish I could turn it off. And even after all these miles, the clutch is still solid. Good hookup there, so that's not a problem. I know a guy with an FJ09, and he burned through his clutch actually pretty quick. Shifting is better. I love the transmission in this thing. The clutch is easy to pull, throttle snappy, all the controls are great. Front brake response, rear brake response, all that stuff is good. You don't even think about it, it's so good. And as far as the gauge cluster, it's okay, it's good, but I have literally ran out of gas on this bike 3 or 4 times because the fuel gauge is so small. It doesn't give you any kind of a warning light. If you don't think to look at it like every time you get on the bike, it's going to get you in trouble. It almost cost me my life on the freeway one time when I ran out of gas in the fast lane, and I had nowhere else to go. I had to get over 4 lanes to get up the freeway, and it was not pretty. That's probably the scariest event I've had on this bike, was running out of gas on the freeway. One of the biggest complaints about this bike is the suspension is stiff, and it's still stiff today, and I got it on a pretty soft setting. There's a lot of feedback on city streets that you get through the suspension, but doing track days, the suspension felt great. Oh, another thing I did to the bike is I put on the Yoshimura Fender Eliminator kit on the back, and I was worried that the tire is going to throw up gravel and dull my tail light and the paint back there, so I took the stock fender and cut off this little point of it and I mounted on there, and it doesn't deter all of it, but it definitely helps. Okay, so the only real problem I've had with this bike is the ignition key would not turn. The barrel got stuck, and it started acting up actually in the first few months, and I just kept, you know, dealing with it until finally one day it got to a point where it's just not going to turn. And I took it into the dealership. Luckily the bike was still under warranty. I also bought the extended warranty for this thing, which I recommend. But yeah, man, I mean, they almost didn't want to warranty it. I'm like, come on, guys. And thank God it was under warranty, because it was $500 fix. Because don't forget, they have to replace the gas cap and the lock for your passenger seat. That all takes the same key. Yeah, and get this, right before I took off, I just had it fixed like a month ago with that. And getting ready to film today, I go to turn the key and I can't turn it. So it's already acting up again. It sounds like Suzuki has a recall issue on this ignition key. I'm not happy about it. So yeah, man, I'm totally stoked on this bike. I love it. I think it looks good. It's fast as heck. It's super comfortable. You can also get it without the full fairings in the front, which I think is great for you guys that want the naked bike look. I personally chose this bike because to me it's like a full-fledged sport bike, but it's got the comfort of a naked bike, you know what I mean? A lot of the upright bikes like this are simply naked bikes, you know, like the 210 and stuff like that. I wanted the shield and the fairing. Also, this bike has a really great price tag. I paid like somewhere in the neighborhood of $10,000 out the door for this thing. I was able to swing me a smoking deal, but a great price, man. Can't beat that. So if I was to rate this bike from 1 to 10 stars, I would give it 9, simply because the suspension is stiff. I'd like it to be a little bit smoother. You know, this ignition key issue is really bothersome. You know, I mean, it's hard to give a bike a 10, but I rate this thing very high. The other thing I want to recommend to you guys is I burned through a lot of chain, and I've used RK chain, and I didn't really like the lifespan of it, and using that compression link is a real pain in the butt. So I recommend EK chain, because they definitely last about 25% longer is my experience. And it has this really cool master link that it has these 2 nuts that you just screw on there. It pushes on the outer link, you snap off the nuts, and you're done. No special tools required. And I personally always go for the gold because I'm pimp. This thing has the GSX-R brake system, the same swing arm. It's the K5 long stroke motor, so it's got a ton of power. You actually need to be careful of the power on this thing. I've actually accidentally broke the back tire loose more than once under heavy power, and they were basically like oh shit moments. And one time I was going like 50 miles an hour and I snapped the clutch and a slight lean and the back end went out on me. I was like, wow, didn't expect that. That's it for this review. Hope you guys dug it. See you next video.